Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk. So we're going to look at all the latest news coming out of Manchester United and transfer news. And good morning, good evening and good afternoon whenever you're watching this. Thank you very much. As I said, we're going to look at the fact that it's game day today. We're playing Lyon, massive game tonight, biggest game of the season so far. Our entire season is riding on the crest of the Europa League wave, and we hope that wave will carry us all the way to the final. So I'd love to know how you guys are thinking about the match today. Get your score predictions in below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Do you think we can actually win the game? Do you think a draw would be a good result? Obviously, there's a little bit of conflict between both parties. Onana and Matic have had their says. Matic, who used to play for us, respectively, and Onana, who currently plays for us. They've had a little kind of ding-dong, bit of a, kind of like the boxers do, getting a little bit riled up before the match. I love it. Absolutely great entertainment. But only if you're on the right side of that entertainment. So we'll look at what is being said there. We'll look at the top stories, which is Delap and his current price tag, which has dropped. We mentioned it yesterday, but we'll take a look at it again today. Apparently, Rasmus, there's news coming out on Rasmus Højlund, so we'll look at what's going on there. And we'll have some information from Ruben Amorim's press conferences. I've just taken a few of the highlight moments of what he's talked about how important the Europa League is to us, how Joshua Zirkzee kind of importance to the team and how he's developing as a player, and a couple of other little bits. Also believe that Ahmad is back in training, which is absolutely brilliant news. Now, I don't think he's going to be available for tonight's match, but if he's back training, it means he could be back. I wouldn't even risk him. If you want to, maybe put him on the bench for the weekend if he's fit for it. If not, keep it for Lyon. Even if he's on the bench for Lyon and he's someone who can come on and help us turn the game at Old Trafford next week. Brilliant. Absolutely magical to have him back, and that's great news. Kobe Mainoo's also back training on grass, and we know that Mason Mount has made a return, and we know that Luke Shaw was on the bench. So the squad is looking a little bit more fuller, which is brilliant considering this is such an important game. It's going to be a really difficult game, and I don't expect us to kind of walk through this game. I'd love us to go out there and smash them, but I think if we could come away with a solid single goal victory tonight, right now, I would take that. If it's a draw, not the end of the world. If it's a defeat, we're still in the game as long as it's not a heavy one. But let's jump into the first transfer bit of news, and this is Liam Delap. Liam Delap's release clause at Ipswich Town will be worth 30 million. In the case of relegation, Manchester United and Chelsea are both keen on the player, and he's part of their shortlist for the summer transfer window. Man City also have a 20% sell-on clause, as the Guardian reports. We don't believe that Manchester City are going to be in for him. They already have Haaland, they already have Marmoush, two unbelievable players. I think in different styles of players, but I don't think Manchester City are going to be coming back for Delap. But what does this say about Delap? A £30 million prospect. I've asked the question before, and some of you guys have kind of, had your views and had your thoughts. But do you think 30 million for Delap is a good price? Would you take the risk on just solely buying Delap at 30 million and leaving it at that? Or are you still in the Osman or Djokovic camp? Do you still prefer them? I think the only way the Delap one works for me is if Delap is the only striker we buy, and we're going to look at Rasmus Højlund in a second, but if Delap is the only striker that we buy, and we were to bring in Acuna in behind him, potentially that could work. If you look at the match last night, and I heard Adam Matic talking about this on Forever United TV, so I'm not taking credit for it, but Adam was kind of talking about how the youth of PSG's team, which was an average age of 22 last night on the pitch, and they were sensational again. They were brilliant against Liverpool in the round of 16. They were excellent against Aston Villa last night. It was a superb watch. Some brilliant goals. Champions League football is just unbelievable. Fair play to Villa. They kind of worked hard in there. And just a little bit of Marcus Rashford. Apparently he's getting pelters now from the Aston Villa team. And I did watch him closely last night, and there were times when he's just literally walking around the field again. So this little burst of going out there and doing well for Villa, I hope it continues, and I hope that the pelters don't sort of send negative thoughts into his mind and get him to kind of slow down in his performances, because we need him to carry on performing so that we can get a good fee for him, move him on in the summer. And I just hope he doesn't slip into a little bit of the old ways he had at United, at Villa now, because as I said, it's very integral to our summer that he does well and that we can move him on. But coming back to Delap and 30 million, what do you think? Do you think Delap and 30 million is worth the goer? Would you have him? For me, as I said, 30 million is a good price tag. Do we want best in class? Do we want cheapest in class? what's the message that we're trying to send? And I understand that we are a club that is financially in trouble. Sorry guys, something wrong with me. We are financially all over the place, and bringing in a £30 million striker that we can maybe structure a deal with over a period of time, and then being able to bring other players in. I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable challenge. But coming back to the PSG point, PSG had a really young squad. Is this what Manchester United are trying to replicate? Sorry, that's what I should have talked about when I got drifted off to the Rashford thing. That is what, are we trying to replicate what PSG are doing? And is that what Chelsea are trying to do? But Chelsea are failing in that particular model, where PSG are absolutely thriving. But I mean, even though they have a young squad, if you look at kind of the spine of that team at the minute, Dembele up front scoring all the goals. Ruiz in midfield has already won the champions, the European Championships with Spain. Donnarumma has also won it in playing in goal, and the two centre halves, their name eludes me now. The spine of their team is really, really strong, and it has a lot of experience in it. Where in the kind of the wider players and have and Hakimi on the right hand side, there is still quite a bit of experience in that young PSG team, and I think that's what Manchester United are hoping. That's what we're trying to do. So we bring Delap in for 30 million, and we maybe bring Acuna in for 60 million. I think that gives us the bones of something to work from. But if we just bring a Delap in and we don't bring anyone else in, we're in trouble. And that's where I sit with that one. If you look at the Rasmus Højlund story, Manchester United have made Rasmus Højlund available for transfer after failing to impress Ruben Amorim. This is coming from Give Me Sport. So Rasmus potentially up for sale. I mean, where would that leave us? Say we did sell Rasmus, I don't know, we got 40 million for him for talk's sake, and we managed to break even. Because I don't think we're going to make. I think we'd probably have to sell him for about 50 million to make a profit on PSR, and I don't think anyone's going to spend that amount of money on him. So Rasmus being sold. Potentially, I still don't believe it. I think we still need two strikers, because I don't think Xerxes, I think I see maybe Xerxes more as a 10 than an actual out-and-out striker. Maybe that can change. Maybe Ruben can transform him into something different, and we'll have a look at what Ruben has been saying there. That's kind of what I'm saying about Rasmus. I think that he is an interesting player. He has done well for us. That's the other point I want to bring in. Rasmus Højlund in his first season did well. Ended up with a reasonable amount of goals for a young player finding his feet in a terrible team last season. Is Delap going to fall into the same mold? And what I mean by that is second season syndrome in the Premier League. It's happened to loads of players. First season, breakout, brilliant. Evan Ferguson as a kind of case in point. Brilliant breakout season. Second season struggled. Is now on loan at West Ham because of injury and a few other things that have kind of happened to him. And he's kind of fallen off the way for him. He was being dubbed the next Alan Shearer. Now Delap is also being dubbed the next Alan Shearer after one season in the Premier League. I would just hopefully hope that he wouldn't have second season syndrome and has a massive fall off, because defenders are going to know what he's like. He's going to be joining a team that's not going to give him a lot of chances in Manchester United, unless Ruben can fix that with the wing backs creating more and the 10s creating more, because that's still a problem that Rasmus has, despite the fact that maybe Rasmus hasn't been able to do some of the basics very well. He still hasn't had any service too. So very similar in stature, Rasmus and Delap. But yeah, just wanted to keep in mind. I just hope we don't have second season syndrome if we do bring Delap in, because if we do, this season's going to be extremely disjointed up front. Okay, now the blue touch paper was lit by Matic whenever Matic talked about playing Onana being the worst goalkeeper Manchester United have ever had. So André Onana, in response to this, was saying, I'd never be disrespectful of another club. We have that. We know that tomorrow we have a difficult game against strong opposition. We're focused and prepared on the performance, and we hope to make our fans proud. At least I've lifted trophies with the greatest club in the world. Some cannot say that. Now, obviously, shots fired by Onana. I don't mind this. It brings a bit of intrigue. It's like two boxers going up, getting. It's like they're doing the weigh in, and they're both squaring up to each other, and there's a bit of trash talk from both sides, and I think it brings a bit of entertainment, and it's not something we get a lot of these days in the Premier League. It used to be back in the day. I remember Keane and Vieira. I talked about it before in the tunnel. If you haven't seen it, dig up the YouTube clips. It's brilliant. Manchester United went out that night and we beat Arsenal at Highbury. Was that 99? Can't remember. I think it maybe was, or maybe it was 2000. it was around that period. We were unbelievable, and Keane was an animal that night, and him and Vieira had a ferocious contest in midfield. It was absolutely exhilarating. But a lot of that spark and kind of grit and sort of blood and thunder has kind of left the game, and this just adds a little bit of fuel to the fire for the match tonight, which I'm really looking forward to. But it does leave Onana in a precarious situation. He has to have a really good game. He's talked nonsense before, and he has made mistakes in the Champions League, and I just hope he has a good game tonight. Actually, well, I hope in some ways he doesn't have a good game, as in I hope he's got little to do and that we defend well and he doesn't have a lot of shots to deal with. But if he does and he actually has to get down and work hard, I hope he can hold it together and have a really good performance tonight, because he's done the talking. He now has to do the walking. So Onana, on your bike, son, make sure you can deliver the goods for us, because we need you tonight, and we don't want this coming back to bite us on the ass. Okay, so this is what Ruben Amorim says about playing in the Europa League. I think it's not tactical. This is a comparison to the Premier League. I truly believe it's the pace of the game, the physicality of the game. We have the best league in the world, the Premier League being that. Sometimes you don't see lots of intensity, but I guarantee that if you compare some of the games that I have in the Europa League, and I have and the data and I have the data that tells me this, it's completely different. And if you have one more second on the ball, I think it makes a big difference to the game. I don't know the game tomorrow, but until now, I felt a difference whenever we play in the Europa League and when we play in the Premier League. So the small space of time can give us an advantage, a bit more of an advantage, and make us a bit better. So again, European football, especially at the Europa League standard, is not at the Premier League standard, and I believe this is what gives Manchester United a good chance of getting a good result both tonight and away from home, because the speed of the Premier League, and we showed that again in the Sociedad game, we were the better team, especially in the home leg. We played well in the away leg too. So if we can do the same again, we will have a really good chance of doing well against Lyon. But as the football gods are well out there to tell me, there's no guarantees that we will go out there and get a win or a victory tonight. And it could be a tough draw, and if it is, so be it. But we have a good record in the Europa League, which gives me a lot of hope that we can go there and make a really good result of it. Okay, and this is what Ruben Amorim had to say about winning the Europa League and the importance of winning it. It's really important to all aspects. The first one is to win a title, a European title, and it would be nice for the confidence. Then to play in the Champions League is completely different. The environment, the way we're going to face the summer, the budget for the summer, and everything else connected with the competition. Now, we know the importance of winning the Europa League. One, it will help sort of cover over some of the massive gaping wounds of this dreadful season. We've been slashed to pieces left, right, and centre, and this would help sort of cover up some of those wounds, bandage them up. But it won't detract from the fact that we're still in the bottom half of the league. We're still an outfit that has a lot of work to do, and we need it would be a very good confidence booster to get this. And it would also open the opportunity to bring in players like Delap, because Delap has actually talked about he is really keen on Champions League football, or European football at least. And we need to be able to offer players European football. So again, pivotal to our season to making this work. And that's kind of where I sit with that one. Okay, guys, I'm rambling on a bit. I'm gonna finish up with the last little quote, and this was on the Joshua Zirkzee one. So Ruben Amorim was talking about Joshua Zirkzee, and he says, I think he's improving in all aspects. I think he needs to be a bit more selfish, and that the thing is that when you are a striker, he's not a typical striker, and he needs to be more selfish. He is more aggressive now. He works better. He's better defending. He's now connecting quite well with all the players in the striker area. Sometimes, especially as he did against Arsenal, he did very well. In some other games like Sociedad, he played more as a number 10. He can adapt with different skills. He is improving, and he's showing good things. Now, I think he's just trying to build Zirkzee up between now and the end of the season. Zirkzee has got better, but he unfortunately hasn't delivered any goals. Hoyland isn't delivering the goals that we need, and Garnacho also. So I'm not going in on all three I'm not singling one of them out. They've all not delivered. Tonight, I hope some of them start to deliver, and I hope Zirkzee is. His manager's talking him up. His manager's giving him plaudits for the good work that he's doing on the training ground. He just needs to be a bit more selfish, and he just needs to get his nose in the goal area a bit more and try and make it work for him. But guys, get your comments in, get your thoughts in. Please hit the old like. Please hit the subscribe as we go along. The subscribe's been going up amazingly well. Thank you for hanging in to the end. If you have, absolute legends. And yeah, let's see if we can get a result tonight. Fingers crossed. We just put in a good performance and get a good result. I'll leave it there. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.